Hai, nama saya Syafinas binti Burhanuddin. Saya berasal dari Pulau Pinang, Malaysia.
Mon nom est Serge Labret. Je suis de la ville de Québec, au Canada.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Marc Bienvenot et je viens de Belgique.
Bonjour, je suis Mareva Freites-Le Cerf et je viens de Suisse, du canton, côté de Lausanne.
നമസ്കാരം, എൻ്റെ പേര് രാഹുൽ. ഞാൻ വരുന്നത് ഇന്ത്യയിലെ കേരളം എന്ന് പറയുന്ന.
안녕하세요. 저는 에스터 코입니다. 시카고에서 자랐지만 저 부모님과 둘 다 한국분입니다.
In Malaysia, the language, Malay language is the only language that is spoken by all religions, by people with all different cultures and backgrounds. So even in schools, in stores, everywhere you go, people will communicate using the same language. So it's a language of unity for my country. A tongue twister in my language is kakakku kata kuku kaki kiriku kaku kuku kikis kuku Cut! A tongue twister from my mother tongue, Bahasa Malaysia. Kakakku kata kuku kaki kiriku kaku kukikis kuku kaki kiriku. Which means my sister said my left leg toenail is hard, so I trimmed my left leg toenail. We have a student at CA who's from Malaysia, so we do speak the same language, and also is about the same language as spoken in Indonesia too, except for the accent and a few vocabulary is different. So we do have students from Indonesia at CA too, and we could communicate using this language as well.
The language unites us more than separates us.
Despite the accents.
Despite the accent, yeah. Again, whether for 90 you say 90 in Belgium and in Switzerland, and 90 in Quebec or in France. I mean, in the end, that doesn't really matter.
And I guess even if it's a bit different, we understand each other. I will
Totally.
understand the numbers you're using, you will understand the ones I'm using. We're all minorities in our country. We're the minority in terms of language in our country, in our respective countries, right? So that makes us maybe different and special.
I've had in the past, even this year, some parent conferences, 3-week conferences in French.
It makes you closer, it brings you closer to the students, right? And I have also written emails to them in French, and I think I do like doing that because I think they also don't have many opportunities to use the language, most likely, so I try to do it.
I have two words I really love in Korean. One is 파이팅, and that means like you can do it. It's actually a word of encouragement, but a lot of people think it sounds like fighting. But it's used a lot in games. It's like ganbare in Japanese. It is an act of encouragement, and it kind of makes sense considering that fighting could be like in competition and things like that. Another word that I really like in Korean is ibi shimshime, and that means my mouth is bored or lonely, which means literally that, but it means I want a snack or I'm hungry. I'm very frequently hungry, so I use that word and phrase a lot.
Whenever you meet an Indian, all have an understanding, or else they have a belief that Hindi is their official language. Actually, it is not. India has 22 officially recognized regional languages. Malayalam is one of them. Usually in entire world, if you go, at least one Malayali or else a Keralite you can find. The pronunciation of Malayalam is not that easy, and whenever you hear the words, certain words like Rishi Shrinkan, Kadol Kachan, there are certain terminologies which is very difficult actually for non-native speakers to pronounce, and to write it always like a circle or it's like a rounded alphabet. It has a lot, so it is a little bit challenging to speak as well as to write.
It's so important to remember your identity and where you're from. As I grew older, I couldn't believe how important it was to be able to hear and understand when I heard other Koreans speak and be able to dialogue with them.
This is the language that you grew up in, the language, the maternal language, the language that your mother raised you in. And so, no matter what, this remains part of your identity.
They even call me Tante, which is in Indonesia means aunt. They don't call me teacher or by my name. It's kind of interesting to see how language ties and creates relationship between people.